Right then, welcome back racing fans. We have the UKS Grand Prix coming up shortly, so let's take a quick look at the starting grid. Lucas Alvarado was beaten by his teammate Cody Brown in the sprint race, so they'll be starting from 12th and 11th on the grid. Alex Caruana in 10th and Max Capetta starting 9th after the contact with the other Alfa Romeo in the sprint race. The man who came second in London is starting 8th with Shashankai in 7th position just ahead of him. Ahead of them is Matthew Capetta, the championship leader, starting in the midfield from 6th, just behind Ryan Alvarado in the Alpine. Alex and Nick both scoring their first points this season in the sprint race, starting 4th and 3rd on the grid. And Anthony Capetta, starting on pole, finished 2nd in the sprint just behind Jared Cicluna, so they'll be starting on the front row together. And I think we have a very exciting race on our hands today. Jared and Anthony will be continuing their battle on the front row together. And we know Jared is exceptionally quick at this track. He won here, of course, last season, and he's backed it up with another win in the sprint race today. So if Jared can secure yet another victory, well, he's in the best place to do that, starting at the front of the grid in front of Anthony. But we know Anthony's incredibly quick as well, so he's going to keep Jared honest the whole way. So yeah, we'll see what happens at the front of the grid. Nick Capetta, of course, has never started a Grand Prix inside the top 3. So he's brought home a couple of points for Red Bull from finishing 3rd in the sprint race. And I think a podium for Nick would mean the world. His first ever podium in Formula Apex, and it could come today, ladies and gentlemen. So that's potentially both very exciting and very nerve-wracking for Nick Capetta. Matthew Capetta finds himself in a bit of no man's land, starting from 6th on the grid, so he's in the midfield and he's got a lot of work ahead of him to try and get himself up the front of the grid. And we know if the sprint race has told us anything, it's that the midfield is absolutely chaotic. So Matthew's going to have to try and get himself out of the midfield, but that could be easier said than done for Matthew. All eyes on the front of the grid now. And the lights are up. We have 4 lights. We have 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go. Anthony gets away very, very poorly. Nick might just be able to get the jump on him. And he has. Nick has the inside line heading down into turn 2. Nick ahead of Anthony. And that was a brilliant start from the Red Bull driver. Jared ahead of Nick, ahead of Anthony. And Nick Capetta did well to get the jump on Anthony Capetta there, as we have a yellow flag somewhere in Sector 1, and that might be one of the Renaults, and I think that is, it's Marco Capetta, who's had a bit of a moment with the barrier at turn 4, but it's green flag conditions again, and Jared has absolutely left the pack behind. So Jared leads from Nick, from Anthony, he's in 3rd, in 4th is Ryan Alvarado. Shashankai's made up a couple positions, he's up into 5th place, past Alex, Matthew and Max as well. So yeah, Jared storming off into the lead, but Nick is sliding all over the place here, and he's going to have to put in the hard work if he wants to keep Anthony Capetta behind him. But what a start from Nick Capetta, took full advantage, and Anthony was just super slow off the line, and that could prove to be a very crucial manoeuvre on Anthony Capetta as the race pans out. And this is potentially very frustrating for Anthony Capetta. He probably knows he's quicker than Nick, so this could potentially be holding Anthony up in his pursuit of Jared Cicluna. And for Jared Cicluna, this is a dream come true. He wants Nick to hold Anthony up as long as possible to give Jared the best chance of winning this race here. As Matthew, he's going to go for a move on Max here, and oh, there's contact! Matthew goes straight into the side of the Red Bull of Max Capetta there, and he has now lost a position to Alex Caruana. And did Matthew for a second think that there was a gap down the inside there and just completely misjudge that? We'll have to have a look. Matthew to the inside and just didn't have enough time to react to Max closing the door, and Max understandably not impressed by Matthew's antics there, but that was very aggressive from the championship leader. He's so desperate to try and get himself up past these couple of cars in front of him, and that just didn't work out for him there. But shifting our attention back to the front of the grid, and Nick seemingly is starting to reel Jared in at the front here for this is now the battle for the lead. Jared ahead of Nick, but Nick has gained on him immensely over the last 2 laps as Jared now fishtails out of turn 7. Nick, he's going to go down the inside into turn 8. Nick Capetta takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Jared's going to try and fight it. Oh, and there's contact from behind as Anthony just nudges the back of the Alpine, but for the first time ever, Nick Capetta leads a Formula Apex Grand Prix, and Jared is in all sorts as now Anthony Capetta takes advantage and goes past him there. So Jared Cicluna losing 2 positions to Nick and Anthony over the course of about half of a lap there. What is going on? Jared just lost the rear coming out of turn 7. That let Nick late on the brakes down the inside. A very Daniel Ricciardo Red Bull move there by Nick Capetta, and he's now leading a Grand Prix for the first time in his career. And you can see there, Nick to the inside of Jared, a brilliant dive bomb that paid off, and that was just fantastic. Bit of contact there from Anthony as Jared was trying to cut the racing line to get back at Nick down the straight. And then Jared out of turn 2 again just loses the grip in the rears, and Anthony goes straight past him. And I think that might have just caught Jared a little bit by surprise there. He tries to switch it back, but doesn't quite have the pace. Was going to go switch it back again down the straight. There's the contact from Anthony behind. And then heading down into turn 2. And you can see Jared having to correct the wheel spin coming out of turn 2 there. And that's how Anthony goes through as well. And that was a brilliant move by Nick Capetta. You know, we don't normally see moments like that from him, but today Nick has brought his A game and he's leaving nothing on the table. So that was fantastic. And we now go back on board with Matthew Capetta in 8th position, and he is still stuck behind Max here. And Matthew probably knows he's quicker than Max, but just hasn't been able to get past yet. And Matthew loses the back of the car, almost goes nose first into the barrier on the exit of turn 4 there. And Matthew just pushing a little bit too hard, trying to get past the Red Bull here. But the team on the radio telling him to let Marco pass, because Marco is lapping just a little bit quicker than his teammate now. So if Renault want to get past Max ahead, they might have to switch drivers, and they have. Matthew has let Marco through to try and take a stab at getting past Max in front of them. But this is not going well so far for Renault. The championship leaders, the drivers that finished 1st and 2nd in Luddenham, are now 8th and 9th in UKS and only scoring 1 point between the two of them. So here we are then on lap 10. Nick ahead of Anthony, who's ahead of Jared, and Jared ahead of his teammate Ryan Alvarado in 4th, and then followed by Shashankai in 5th. And I have to give credit where credit is due, because Shashankai is driving a brilliant race. He has never been inside the top 5 in any Formula Apex session ever, let alone a Grand Prix. So Shashankai is doing brilliantly. But not only that, he's actually sticking to the back of this pack here. So this is Nick, Anthony, Jared, Ryan and Shashank all battling at the front of the grid, and there is a big gap between Shashank and Alex, which is P5 and P6. So Shashank showing incredible pace here today. But look at how close Anthony is to the back of the Red Bull of Nick Capetta here. So this is now the battle for the lead. On to lap 12 they go, and Anthony might have just lined him up for a move down the inside. Is he going to go down the inside? Oh, and they both lock up heading into turn 2. Can Anthony inch ahead? No, he can't. Nick just manages to keep ahead of the Mercedes driver. Jared Cicluna wants to challenge Anthony down the inside of turn 4, but he can't get through there. And for a second, Anthony thought the move was done, but both Nick and Anthony locked up, and I think they were reacting to each other there. So Nick keeping Anthony behind for an extra lap, but Anthony, he's going to get another opportunity now on lap 13. Nick covers the inside line into turn 2. Anthony's going to try and switch it back now into turn 3, but he can't quite get past. He's going to keep the pressure on now, and the pressure might have just paid off for Anthony as he now takes the lead of the UKS Grand Prix. Nick goes way too wide coming out of turn 4, and I think Nick was too busy watching where Anthony was braking and not watching where he was braking, and that caused him to just go way too wide in turn 4, and that was a costly mistake for Nick there. And Anthony has got to be cheering, because now he's leading the race. He's got clean air ahead of him and is free to just take off and hope that Nick just holds up the pack behind him. And I think the challenge is now going to be up to Nick to try and stick with the back of the Mercedes, because we know Anthony is absolutely quick, and with that clean air, he's going to be even quicker. So Nick has got a tall order to try and stick with Anthony and hope that he makes a mistake and another opportunity comes for Nick to regain the lead of the race. But I think regardless of where Nick finishes in this race, he's got to be incredibly proud of his performance today. He has just absolutely shown his caliber and what he can do. and whether he gets a win or a podium, I think he should be proud either way, and Red Bull should be incredibly proud too. But I think he wants the win, and Anthony has lost a bit of the grip in the rears. Nick's going to go down the inside into turn 8, retakes the lead of the race, and we have been interrupted by a yellow flag in Sector 1. What has happened? And oh no, that is Matthew Capetta facing the wrong way. I think that's down into turn 2. It is down into turn 2. And oh my goodness me, he is not only now fallen well out of the points, but is now being lapped by the race leaders. And this is just tragic. What on earth has happened to Matthew? We're going to have a look at the replay, but he is not happy, shaking his head. And did he get hit by someone else? Was there contact with another car? Let's take a quick look. Matthew battling both Max and Alex, who goes past, almost both of them, down into turn 8. Alex still stays ahead, and now coming down the straight, he's got the inside line on Alex there, gets past him, and he's been tagged from behind, and I think that might have been a bit of contact with Alex Capetta there. But let's take a look from a different angle. This is on board from Alex's perspective. There comes Matthew down the inside of turn 8, and on to the straight they go. Matthew just had so much more straight line speed, goes down the inside into the kink of turn 1. And there was contact, but I'm not too sure if Alex meant to do that. I'm not too sure who's to blame there. It almost looked like Matthew came onto Alex's racing line, and that's what caused the collision. This is now a replay of Nick retaking the lead off of Anthony there just moments before the yellow flag came out, so that interrupted that battle. But here we go now, on to lap 17. The battle resumes, and Nick still leading the pack. And what a brave dive bomb he did on Anthony down the inside of, I think that was turn 8. The same maneuver he pulled on Jared Cicluna just a couple of laps ago to initially gain the lead of the race. But now coming up to lap Alex Caruana, Anthony, he's now retaken the lead off of Nick, and Alex Caruana is going to have a hand to play in this battle as well. They're coming up to lap him, but Alex, he has to move out of the way. Jared, he's in this fight as well, goes down the inside of Anthony Capetta, can't quite get through there. Nick's still ahead of Anthony, who's still ahead of Jared, and oh no, Ryan, he's been pushed into the barrier by his teammate. Shashank Iyer goes through as well, and that was so unfortunate for Ryan. He got wedged between Jared and the barrier and is now stuck behind these two lapped cars and probably falling a little bit away from the race leaders. So Ryan was originally in 4th, challenging for the podium, but he's just, that was a little bit unlucky for Ryan Alvarado now. But the battle resumes at the front, and the front runners are now coming up to more lapped cars. Anthony still right behind Nick, putting the pressure on as he's done the entire race. And I think this battle is going to go down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen, to the final lap. Anthony all over the backers now. Shashank Iyer goes down the inside of Jared Cicluna. What a move from Shashank Iyer. That was absolutely brilliant. And also a little bit unexpected from Shashank to make a dive bomb like that. You know, we don't normally see moments like that from Shashank Iyer, but that was so ballsy, and he probably caught Jared napping just a little bit there at turn 8. And this race is very quickly coming apart for Alpine, and it is going the way of Red Bull and Mercedes at the moment. But 5 laps to go now, and Nick still ahead of Anthony. Can he hold on to secure not only his first podium in Formula Apex, but a race win would be fantastic for Nick. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, this has been an incredibly impressive drive from Nick Capetta. He has coped brilliantly with the pressure that Mercedes have thrown at him today, and with just 5 laps to go now, let's see if he can secure the race win. And Anthony, and he's got his teammate behind him, Shashank Iyer, trying to put a little bit of pressure on, and I've just realised that this is actually the first time both the Mercedes have been running in the podium positions. Shashank Iyer up into 3rd position with for the first time ever, and he's going to try and challenge his teammate Anthony for P2. But the battle is still on here, ladies and gentlemen. It is Nick ahead of Anthony, ahead of Shanks, ahead of Jared. And Mercedes on the radio telling their drivers that there are no team orders. They are free to race each other. So although Anthony is still trying to find a way past Nick, he's going to have to do that as soon as possible. Otherwise, he's going to have to start defending from his teammate here, because Shashank, He's on the podium, but he wants P2 now. He wants to try and get past his teammate if there's an opportunity. So team orders are off, all bets are off at Mercedes, and both the teammates are going to be fighting to the line here. But for Anthony Capetta, he's got a bit of a tough job at the moment. You know, does he attack Nick or does he defend from Shanks? He won't be able to do both, but this might not be the wisest decision of Mercedes, as Anthony almost pushing Nick over the start-finish line there. And it is so close between the top two. But we've got a lap and a half to go, ladies and gentlemen, before Nick takes the checkered flag for the first time ever. He's driven perfectly all race, and he's defended so well from Anthony in the second half of this Grand Prix. So Nick deserves it just as much as Anthony, but the race can only be won by one, and onto the final lap they go. Can Mercedes spoil Nick's party here? Anthony trying to go around the outside on the final lap, but can't quite get through. Nick has coped brilliantly with the pressure, and he's still having to defend from Anthony, because Anthony's not going to let this one go easily without a fight. But around the final few corners, here they go. Nick has done enough to secure the win as Shashank makes a late lunge on his teammate into turn 8. Nick Capetta crosses the line, a Grand Prix winner for the first time ever in Formula Apex. What a drive by him, but what a drive by Shashank as well. He snatches P2 off of his teammate at the last lap, at the second last corner of the last lap, and that was phenomenal. But what a performance by this man right here, Nick Capetta. He's never finished inside the top 6 in a Grand Prix, but today he's going to take the top step of the podium. It's gold, it's P1 for Nick. It is absolutely fantastic, and you can see just how much that means for him. And what a race, what a drive by these two. And Anthony probably feels a little bit disappointed to have lost P2 to his teammate there. But man, oh man, what a race that was. That was just fantastic by Nick. A defensive masterclass, to say the least. But what a day for Mercedes to take their first double podium in Formula Apex as well.
Baby! P2! Come on, double podium, baby! P1! P1! Oh my god! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, mate? Are you kidding me? Yes! Yes! Oh, brother! Oh my god! Wait, nice move on the last lap. I know! Nice move. That was risky. I know, I pushed. Oh my god! A podium, baby! Woo! Double Mercedes podium. Wait, we are in this championship fight, man. We're in this championship fight. We got the Alpine. Woo! Oh my god, that was fantastic. Well done. What happened? You just lost pace.
Yeah, slow down, honestly, I thought Shanks was being lapped. So I kind of let him through.
Me too.
You got to chat to Matthew. He torpedoed me down the inside, and then he decided to turn to let Max and Marco through.
I have to have a look at it.
Have a look at the footage. I might be in the wrong, but like that's what I felt.
That was Alex Capetta there talking to Anthony about his incident with Matthew. So let's take another look at it. This is on board from Matthew's perspective. And Alex just ahead here as they go, almost level pegging down the straight. Matthew with the inside line, just gets tagged by the Alfa Romeo. Matthew not happy, facing the wrong way, and it all went wrong for him and for Renault today. But I'm not entirely convinced that was fully Alex's fault there, because Alex, here we go, around the final couple of corners, onto the main straight. Alex was ahead. Yes, Matthew had the inside line, but Matthew just came across to the right of where Alex was. So yeah, Alex didn't actually T-bone him, but rather Matthew sort of turned in on him, which is what caused that collision there. This is Nick's star. This is the jump that he got on Anthony down into turn 1, and a nice reaction time off the line for Nick Capetta. One of the first of many impressive feats in this race was his start. This is now on lap 5 or 6, getting past Jared Cicluna down the inside of turn 8, and Nick actually made quite a number of overtakes in turn 8 today, so that probably is his new favourite corner on this track. And this is now the three-way fight You can see Anthony over on the left, Nick at the top right there, who was leading the race at the time, and Jared in the bottom right. So Anthony, you can see chasing Nick, almost pushing him down. It looks like he's lining him up for a move down the inside. They all lock up. You can see Nick left in the room. Anthony lost grip in the rears and almost started to slide, and so did Jared. That's how he reacted to try and avoid the collision. But yeah, not a single bit of contact between these three. This is great racing. This is clean racing. This is fantastic at the front, and this is exactly how we want every battle for the lead to pan out in Formula Apex. This was this is thrilling to watch. But here we go now for a second lap running. You can see Anthony putting the pressure on, and Nick just wasn't watching where he was looking. That let Anthony swoop through into the lead, but luckily for Nick, he retook that position off Anthony in about a lap or two time. And this is that move. Again, the same move that he pulled on Jared Cicluna, he pulls on Anthony Capetta. And inconveniently enough for Anthony, that is exactly when the yellow flag came out for the incident involving Matthew and Alex as well. And Nick, this win probably means the world to him. What a performance it was. It was not a straightforward win, but he put his car in all the right positions to defend from Mercedes, and a well-deserved victory. But what a day for Mercedes as well. Their first double podium in Formula Apex.
Are you kidding me, mate? Are you kidding me? Yes!
And well-deserved from the top three. Anthony in third, Shashankaya in second, and the man of the hour, Nick Capetta, to take first place for Red Bull. Incredibly impressive from him, and a brilliant achievement as well. What a race, ladies and gentlemen. Nick and Shanks scoring their first podiums in Formula Apex. Nick winning his first race today for Red Bull, and Anthony Capetta back on the podium for the first time in 4 Grand Prix. Anthony just losing out to his teammate on the last lap there in a nail-biting battle for the top 3. Jared started at the front of the grid but couldn't quite convert it to a win or even a podium, finishing 4th ahead of his teammate Ryan Alvarado in 5th. More points for Alfa Romeo with Alex Capetta in 6th, ahead of Max in 7th as well. And it was a day to forget for Renault. They came into this race the championship leaders after a 1-2 finish in London, but today took home only 1 point between the two of them. Marco in 8th ahead of Matthew as well, followed by Alex Caruana and the 2 Aston Martins in 11th and 12th. And Shashankaya for Mercedes taking out the fastest lap point as well. Nicholas Capetta, the man of the hour. What a race, what a performance, what a start. There was just so much positives from today from yourself. Obviously, not only getting your first podium, but making that a victory as well. You must be on an incredible high at the moment, but just tell us what's going through your head at the moment.
Yeah, I'm currently over the moon. Coming into the race weekend, I knew we weren't going to be the fastest car. I knew we'd be up there. But I didn't expect to be fighting for the win, let alone the podium. I thought it was going to be points, but we take what we get. But brake balance was just right, and I was just able to put the car in the perfect spot to keep everyone behind.
Yeah, it was a defensive masterclass on your behalf to keep behind Anthony of all drivers. I'm sure he's not one that you want to see in your rearview mirrors. So was there a bit of pressure when you were leading the race?
No, not really. Not as much as I thought there would be. I was when I got Anthony going into turn 1 to get P2, I was like, oh shit, like, pardon my language. I was like, now it's a race. Once I got him on, and then go ahead, Jared. I was like, okay, now it's time to put on the defensive masterclass.
Yeah, well, obviously, well done. You kept him at bay and secured the victory. Is this the start of potentially, more results like this as well?
I'm not going to confirm anything, but
hopefully,
if we have the same performance, if not better performance in the car, then we definitely expect Nico winner. Thank you. Yeah, if we get better performance in the car at the next race, what's the next race?
I think Eastern Creek.
Eastern Creek. No GoPros there, so it's a shame. But if we get better performance, then we can definitely expect me to be pushing up the front of the grid. But I do like my tight and more defensive style tracks over the more open and fast-paced tracks.
All right, well, thank you very much, Nick. Congratulations once again, and we'll see you next time.
Alrighty, Mercedes. Seemed like a good day out there today. Shanks, your first time outside the bottom 6, and you've come in with a win and the fastest lap. How are you feeling about that?
I got a second place, but I wish it was the win. Almost, if maybe I had an additional lap, maybe I could have pushed the champion Nico. But it's after practice. I will be honest, I wasn't feeling the greatest, constantly oversteering, understeering, not really having much traction on the track. But then once I got through the sprint race, really found my edge, found like my overtaking pace. And then like it's more just then learning the braking points, which then I kind of figured it out about 4 laps into the race, the main race, and then it's just everything went beyond what I thought it could. And I'm really happy, and I've got to admit my confidence is taking a big boost today, and I'm really excited for the next race in Eastern Creek.
I was looking forward to seeing you more on the podium.
Yeah, 100%.
And Anthony, for you, back on the podium, how do you feel?
Yeah, look, I think a big difference in performance compared to London. We had quite a lot of pace today, and I think, there were... I can't really pick out any moment where that was really a negative moment, to be honest. I mean, obviously congratulations to Nick. It's not only his first podium, but his first win, and I wasn't expecting, to be battling at the front of the grid with him. And then Shanks at the end, seeing that he was not only in the top 5, but then made up a couple positions and was behind me at one stage, and then made a very ballsy overtake on the last lap. So look,
last turn.
I'm not too upset about that. I'm glad to be back on the podium. It's been a while, and to share it with my teammates, to share this moment with Mercedes. So
now,
overall, I'm pretty happy with today's performance. Yeah.
More on that last lap overtake. Was that team orders, or were they just letting you race?
It was not team orders. They were letting us race. They were telling me on the radio that Shanks was behind, but I just couldn't find a clean opportunity to get past Nick. So, obviously he was probably holding me up, and that was bringing Shanks back into contention. And then, good on Shanks for finding an opportunity to slip in. And that's racing. So he did a really good job, obviously, and not really mad about it, to be honest. If you want to lose a position, it's going to be to your teammate. So. Yeah,
well, congratulations, boys. Sounds like it's going to be a good day back at the factory. Lots of champagne and celebrations.
Yeah.
See you guys at Eastern Creek.
All right, the Alpine drivers, Jared and Ryan. Jared, we'll start with you. You were on pole position after winning the sprint race, but could not convert that to a win or even a podium. What happened? It just seemed like you dropped off about halfway through.
Yeah, it was a bit of a choke. I mean, I went straight into third after the first or second lap, and I held third for about 10, 15 laps. To be honest, I thought Shanks was getting lapped, so I kind of wasn't too concerned. I still thought I was in third for almost the entirety of the race until the end when I saw Shanks celebrate. But it was a bit of an L when I realised I was in fourth. But happy to get 9 points today, so 4 points for the sprint was pretty good. So overall, I think we did well. I think good performance for Alpine. I think in the constructors now we are second, so it's a good performance.
Right, yeah, well done. And unfortunately you couldn't get the win. So Ryan, over to you. It looked like at the start you were making up a couple positions, but then you got passed by Shanks, and I think you finished 5th as well. But
Yes.
tell us your perspective of the race.
Well, first of all, I just want to go and reflect back on the sprint race. That was just chaos. Wasn't done properly. Too many incidents. The race should have been stopped and restart again. If you see me, I was just bumping around like a madman. I didn't know I was at the Royal Easter Show, It was just absolute absurdity. The race was a good effort. I managed to get a clean overtake on Alex into turn 1, which was a great start. Nico did really good, holding up everyone, defended really well, and then that allowed Shanks to catch up. And then an incident with my teammate, unfortunately, me sort of getting caught in between him and the barrier, that allowed Shanks to go through and overtake me. Still points, but it's pretty disappointing. I'm looking forward to the next race, taking a break, refreshing.
All right, thank you, boys. All right, Alex, P6 today. So Alfa Romeo's first points of the season, and quite frankly of their career, since joining Formula Apex. So, but it wasn't such a clean race from your perspective. So just walk us through what happened.
Yeah, no, we didn't have the best of starts. But then we got caught up with one of Mercedes, had to let that one through. One of the Alpines by Ryan Navarrete, good start, let him go. that was very clean of him. Yeah, just with a tussle with Mercedes, with one of the Shanks, I believe. He tried to, actually hit him, gave him the place, and then Massimo from Red Bull tried to profit from that, and I kind of was like, no, that's not right. You don't get to profit by giving the position back. And then you get Matthew from Renault, just torpedoed me down the inside on the main straight. Then we had a collision there. He turned, didn't just kind of pushed me out wide. So I want to appeal that one. See what the racing steward say about that. But yeah, no, look, overall it's not a bad result. We could have done better, but you know, it is what it is. We're building the team up, and we'll go from there.
So you say you want to appeal the incident between yourself and Matthew. So you don't think you're at any fault here?
No. Look, he kind of T-boyed into me, and then again just didn't give the room. And then again I hit the brakes, and then actually just T-boned him because he just didn't give the room. Again, he had plenty of room on the left. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Renault, a tough day in the office, scoring only 1 point as a team for the entire day, including the sprint race and the final race. So Marco, we'll just start with you briefly. P8, I mean, let's just go back to Luddenham. The penalty that you got from colliding with Max, what were your thoughts? Did you think that was a bit too harsh? Was it fair? What do you think?
Oh, look, as a team, we just moved on. We just want to talk on the track. So the stewards felt that a penalty was deserved, so we thought, okay, whatever, let's just move on. But yeah, today was a bit disappointing. We just couldn't get in the groove, and yeah, not a good day for the team.
Yeah, all right, thank you very much. Matthew, now just switching over to you. You unfortunately were the championship leader heading into today's race, but obviously a series of heartbreaking results led to, I can't remember where you finished. Were you P9 out of the points? So yeah, not taking home any points today, but what's going through your head at the moment?
Just a little bit of frustration. We do our talking on the track. Talking on that, the incident that bumped me from 5th place down to 9th. Oh, actually, I was lapped and then fought back to 9th. But fighting for 5th, and you know, I was alongside, ahead, past, and then when another driver hits you in the back corner of your car, it tends to annoy you a little bit when you go out of the race, out of the points. It's very different to last race. Last race we had a very good fast car. This one we were right in the thick of it, fighting for every place we had. And it's disappointing to see the sportsmanship of some other drivers just is lacking, and it's really sad to see the stain on our sport. I'm sure that the stewards will, when they review the footage, there may be a change of the grid positions at the end of today. Points may look different. Maybe Marco might end up getting bumped up a spot, hopefully, if maybe a 5-second penalty is involved. But hopefully there's a similar, if we're getting a 3-place grid penalty for the next race, I hope that something just as severe is being put in for the next race against some other drivers.
Yeah, so this obviously isn't the first time that you've come together with Alex Capetta on track. So is there a bit of a feud or a bit of tension between you two now after today?
That's fine. I just talk with my car, and when my car's faster, it's faster. And when his car's in the back of mine, it's in the back of mine. We don't need to talk about it.
All right, thank you very much, boys. And yeah, tough luck today.